What will be added in patch 1.9 and 2.0? New details on Stalker 2 thanks to one of the patch testers. It became known that the testing of patch 1.9 is scheduled to begin as early as the beginning of March. Today in this video we will discuss what will be added to patch 1.9 and the future patch 2.0. In the previous video, we analyzed the new teaser from GSC. A lot of details about future updates were hidden in the teaser. I recommend it for viewing. Engine update, lumen, volumetric lighting, shadows, transparent glasses, and most importantly for the majority of players, optimization plus 60% to performance. All our dreams are starting to come true, but not as fast as I, and you, would like. The engine update will not appear in patch 1.9. Let's be honest, despite the New Year's CNPP teaser and the new GSC music video, there was little chance that the engine update would appear in this update. And for those who are still sitting in a tank, the new engine version will be 5.5.4 and not 5.6 or 5.7. This is certain, and the developers have confirmed this once again. Probably, the developers will make every effort to time the engine update to the number 2.0, that is, patch 2.0. Also, GSC confirmed that they are actively working both on the game update and on the DLC. The engine update should be the first to come out, and only then the expansion. The developers will probably tell us about everything in March, although I do not exclude that next week an unexpected surprise may await us in the form of a roadmap. It's kind of time already. The first quarter of 2026 is ending, although no one promised it. New quests and Pripyat expansion. GSC are not sitting idly by. They have been testing quests on the new engine version for a long time. Do not forget about the mention of X17 in one of such quests where the engine was tested, but right now there is too little information to say whether these quests will be added to the game. But judging by the findings in the localization files of patch 1.6, another one of such quests is about a strange mutant. Do not get upset too early. We will get the engine update and DLC sooner or later, definitely this year, if not in the spring, then in the summer. And where would we be without schizo theories? There are geniuses who claim that in the teaser the release date of the DLC or the engine update was smeared in blood on the table for us, 31.06 or 31.10, not even considering that there are 30 days in June. Are we waiting for DLC on 31.10? What do you think? Besides, again possibly, the community manager is hinting that they plan to release patch 1.9 by the end of March, namely Thursday, March 19th. GSC can quietly prepare a batch of quests, and patch 1.9 will become another content patch. These quests will take place in Pripyat. Yes, in Pripyat. Recently, the community manager answered a question about the expansion of Pripyat. Usually they don't do this, but in the answer the community manager hinted that overall in the zone new places for exploration will appear, of course without specifics. The community is actively asking to polish Pripyat, both in terms of additional content and to expand it to inaccessible areas, because, even speaking off the top of my head, more than half of Pripyat and all the additional content was cut out. They even cut out the secondary quest from Colonel Degtyarev that almost reached release. However, judging by the information we have right now, the expansion of Pripyat will be in the second major expansion. Therefore, leave your guesses on where they can add content and what to expand. By the way, I talked about all the new locations that will appear in the first DLC in this video. Binoculars, thermal sights, and attachments. Many people are laughing at the fact that developers just can't add binoculars. Yes, it really sounds funny, but the binoculars were actually made a long time ago. In the teaser, they showed us one of several binoculars that will probably appear in patch 1.9 or already in patch 2.0 with the engine update. By the way, there were binoculars in the build. They worked very crookedly and simply, like a zoom, similar to how the screen zooms in before a dialogue with an NPC, only stronger. In general, have you not thought about what differences there will be between binoculars, besides visual ones and zoom distance? Perhaps GSC will return one of the features of the trilogy, auto-lock on the target. This technology relies on thermal, more likely infrared, sensors, but this is not a thermal imager in its classic form. True, the auto-lock on the target in the trilogy for a sniper rifle was just as useless as for binoculars, but if you use it on the Feat 2000M, and even with a high contrast sight, then overall it was much more convenient to conduct firefights in the dusk and bushes. Thermal sight. In the game build, you can notice that there was a groundwork for a thermal sight. This can be found out if you spawn all the sites into your inventory in the spawner and examine them carefully. Nevertheless, there was no possibility to equip and use it, but there was an icon in the inventory and a complete absence of a dropped model. In the release, the thermal imager can still be found at the ward base at the chemical plant in the form of an unused item, and at Rostock on one of the rifles on the wall. On the plus side, here is the final model of the item, which generally matches the icon from the build and the concepts. In the near future, we can expect the appearance of a new modification for mounting on weapons from technicians and a new type of attachments. A tactical flashlight. In the game files, it was possible to find sounds of turning on and off a tactical flashlight. The files lie in the weapon attachments folder, so the category refers to weapon attachments. Also in the same folder are the sounds of turning on or disabling the laser, changing the zoom magnification while aiming, as well as turning on and off, probably changing the brightness or illumination modes of the aiming dot in collimator or holographic sights. New difficulty. The community manager hinted at a new difficulty level by answering a question about new difficulty. In patch 2.0, the new difficulty will not be some hard mode that deletes all our saves. It will be a new difficulty mode, custom run. It will be possible to configure the game difficulty for yourself, just like an anomaly. In the localization files, a detailed description of the custom run mode was found. Will suit those who like to fine-tune their gaming experience. Determines how difficult it is to survive in the zone. Affects emissions, damage from anomalies and the speed of accumulation of radiation and PSI influence. Determines how difficult it is to fight humans. Affects their accuracy, reaction, and tactics in combat. Determines how generous the zone will be to you. Affects all prices and rewards. If you change the custom run difficulty level, you will not be able to return to it later in this game. Will new locations and regions be added in patch 2.0 with the engine update? The Winter CNPP teaser teases us with a new region, but whether it will appear before the DLC and how it will look for players who have not purchased the DLC is unknown. Probably, the region will appear only together with the DLC, but obviously inaccessible for exploration to players who haven't bought it. But even if new regions appear, and you penetrate them using Noclip, there will be nothing to do there. Will patch 1.9 be released at the end of March? It is hard to say for now exactly what this patch will be, a content update or something else that GSC will share next month. From previously given answers by community managers, it became known that in the future the ability to disable traces might appear. Skipping cutscenes, which was there on release but is now broken, they are trying to fix it. It might appear in this patch. Sony boys are waiting for mods on PS5, maybe they will add them, and on PC, possibly, a mod manager will appear, which has been flashing in the files for a long time, but is used only on Xbox. In the future, they are considering the idea of adding special weapon inspection animations, as was the case with the Rhino revolver in one of the trailers, but the animation was activated for the trailer and is used only before the start of a round in the arena. The developers are preparing items for the Point Shop in Steam, but you should not expect their appearance in the near future. The work is still going on at the level of rough drafts. They will most likely come out together with the DLC. Over time, more weapon attachments and weapons themselves will be added, as well as unique versions of those already existing in the game. In the DLC, they will add more variations of duty and freedom armor. Perhaps they'll finally add the playable armor sets for the core faction. New tree variations too, not just the classic sock-style ones we saw in the CNPP teaser. We might also see the new weather conditions teased in the art book, beyond just that one dense fog. And of course, new emission types, like PSI, chemical, fire, and electromagnetic blowouts, just like they showed in the concept art. They are not planning to add subtitle display in immersion mode yet. There were individuals who asked to add dismemberment to the game, but naturally it won't be there. The camouflage of the pre-order suit and backpack in the PS5 promo art differs from the PC Xbox version. They were changed only for PS5, and they will not appear on other platforms. They will continue to be a PS5 exclusive. The GSC Community Manager does not deny the possibility of transitioning to UE 5.6 or 5.7 in the future if there is a need for it. The developers want to restrict the publication of mods in the Steam Workshop, so that unwanted mods do not go into public access. Officially, you shouldn't monitor new patches for the trilogy. New content will not be added and the existing one will not be changed, only fixing bugs and errors. Let's not forget about the promised fixing bugs that arose because of the last major patch, which were never fixed. A-Life 2.0, an increased day and night cycle, and Zone Kit Phase 2, which will allow you to create your own quests and make full-fledged voice acting and localization for them. And in the distant future, somewhere beyond Alaska, Zone Kit Phase 3 awaits us, which will allow us to edit the zone itself, that is, regions and locations. Why is it taking so long to update the engine? Technical producer of GSC, Yevhen Kulik, in the latest GSC interview for FRVR, explained what exactly the problem is. Updating the engine itself for such a massive project is in itself already quite painstaking work, but not only that, the game engine is very modified by GSC themselves. It is literally a fork version of UE 5.1. Inside the studio they call it 5.1.GSC, and it is not just UE 5.1 as is, but a reworked engine for the needs of Stalker 2. GSC had to deeply adapt UE 5 for a massive open zone and the features of the game. Optimization of performance. Reworked the rendering threads to draw the world faster and reduce the load. Improved the use of CPU and memory, for example, reduced RAM consumption. Changes in rendering. Part of the graphical systems and the render pipeline was rewritten for Stalker's tasks. This is important because of the huge open zone and the multitude of objects. Tools for unique game systems. Adapted some built-in UE tools for their own mechanics, for example, A-Life, although the native system was temporarily simplified. Since we touched upon A-Life, I'll probably speak plainly. A-Life 2.0 is not a myth. Speaking in street terms, the developers took and cut out the A-Life 2.0 folder and added the A-Life optimization folder. Part of that very A-Life will be returned with DLC 01, namely the faction war. This is certain, and this became known thanks to data mining. A-Life on release and now is heaven and earth. If on release the folder was A-Life optimization, then now it is A-Life 1.0, which not only does not yield to the trilogy, but in moments surpasses it, and in some places still needs polishing. More A-Life fixes will definitely be in patch 1.9 and 2.0. Why not just take and update the engine? Since the engine was deeply modified, a normal UE update, for example, to UE 5.5.4, is a very difficult task. Many changes can conflict with new epic tools. Transferring all proprietary modifications to a new foundation requires a lot of resources and development time. However, GSC plans an update to a newer version UE 5.5.4 for better stability, performance. Fixing graphical anomalies and modern UE improvements is also a separate step, requiring serious reworking. Over time, it will be possible to expect the appearance of full-fledged DLSS 4 support and hardware lumen, which is what players are waiting for the most from the engine update. Right now, one thing is clear. The release of patch 1.9 may take place in the middle or at the end of March. After that, there will be an engine update, and only after that the release of patch 2.0 and the launch of the first major story DLC will take place. And all this before summer.